I got mine. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Corn Corner podcast. Name is Wicked Wren. When I was growing up, I didn't know what shin splints were, and I still don't.
That's all right. You don't need to know. I'm Cam Damage, and do you want to read my Don Knotts erotic fanfiction? Yes or no?
I don't know what Don Knotts is, but speaking of Don, today we have an extra special topic. We're going to be talking about what people use to communicate. People often do this when they're at a drive-thru at a restaurant. People do this when they're ordering a brand new television set for the home.
You order
You order them for the home.
from the Sears catalog.
For the home. Now, what we're talking about, and I feel like this doesn't need to be said, is voice, and specifically the trans voice
Experience.
experience.
And that's where Don Knotts comes in. Because a lot of people don't know this, but he's actually FTM. Anyway.
We wanted to do this episode based on voice things. You go ahead and sit up. Yeah.
This thing kills my back. Because the mic's too low and I can't, so I'm always like,
Well, if there's only way that you could raise it,
it's raised as far as it goes.
well, you can get this bass up a little bit, maybe.
Anyway.
We're going to talk about that because it's such a huge part of transitioning voice things. And we were talking about doing an episode on the word passing, which is such a word that is used harmfully, I think.
Yeah, it's an inflammatory subject.
This is not going to be today's episode. This is going to be a future episode because it's very nuanced.
Yeah.
But seriously, I think that the word is generally used to disenfranchise people and polarize people. I think it's a bad phrase, and it's usually never needed.
But one thing that goes into that so deeply is voice stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we started talking about voice things and how those play into stuff.
I think an important thing here also for like non-trans or trans adjacent listeners, you know what I mean though? For instance, fucking cis people who don't have trans people in their lives to talk about the issues that we like face on the daily.
Yeah.
May not know how important, how impactful your literal voice is in terms of how you navigate the world.
Yeah.
So like for me, it just happened yesterday. Phone calls, nightmare.
Yes.
I have done no voice training. I still think about doing it. I'm not sure if I want to, yada, yada, whatever. But for me on the phone, it's a dice roll if I'm going to get gendered correctly.
Yeah.
And just yesterday I was on the phone with the bank and I started out, I lower my voice when I talk to people on the phone and when I talk to like service industry, like go order food at the airport, whatever, I purposely lower my voice and try to keep it low to where like you or someone who's close to me would be like, maybe, because it's not my conversational voice, whatever. So I did that on the phone with the bank yesterday and then we got conversational.
Yep.
Because I'm a nice person.
Yes.
And then I got to my customer service voice.
Yes.
Which was socialized as a girl.
Yeah.
And so the phone call started with being called Mr. My last name. And I was like, sick, Win. And then we got like 5 minutes in and then it was, can I help you with anything else? Miss my last name.
Yeah.
And I was like, feck.
Yeah.
Because I went from being like, hi, I have this issue, whatever, doing this and making sure I have like resonance like in my chest and stuff to being like, oh, you know, this thing is happening and I don't know how to fix it. Like, and doing whatever.
Yes. It's hard.
Yeah.
And earlier you were talking directly to the people that this issue doesn't affect personally, and I thought you said a really great things. The other thing I would like to say is that you should listen because we need your viewership. Let's be clear. We need your engagement and those analytics.
Yeah.
So keep on listening to the very end and like it and subscribe to it too.
I also do think, jokes aside, when we talk about trans specific issues or experiences, it is highly important for people who are not trans to listen.
I agree.
Yeah.
And to be clear, I'm not making a joke. We need the engagement. It's not, there's nothing
no
joking.
jokes about it.
We are in the process of needing it.
Yeah.
So make sure that you stick on
with us and engage.
Yeah. But no, on a serious note, not saying that what I currently said before this wasn't serious. It very much was serious, actually. But it's hard because you get conversational.
Yeah.
And then not you, a human gets
Everyone,
conversational, gets disengaged, disarmed, sorry. And then
the front drops.
Yeah. It's hard to call it a front because I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But I think defining as a front is hard because what you're trying to change 30 years of
inflection, vocal fry.
Very hard.
Lilt.
Also, the way you navigated the world for safety, the way you navigated the world to get outcomes that you wanted. Everyone does this.
Yeah.
But you're changing so many things fundamentally. And the hardest thing is like you also brought something up. Interesting was that you said when you do a different voice around someone like me, it's going to make me cringe. And the hardest thing to do is that around people that you and know you and know your voice.
Yeah.
That was the absolute hardest part.
Yeah.
I remember being like, hey, I'm going to do something new. And it's going to be weird.
What, going in public and making your voice?
No, public's easy because the bank teller isn't a real person.
Oh,
but
yeah.
around like a friend or
Oh,
something?
okay. So like in, I don't know how else to word that besides like enforcing the new vocal pitch, etc.
Yeah.
around people that already are comfortable
Yes.
with the other form of voice, whatever.
Family, for instance.
Yeah.
Being like, hey, this is going to be weird.
Yeah.
It's as weird as it is for you, it's 10 times weirder for me.
Yeah.
We're going to get through it. And at some point, it just becomes natural.
Yeah.
Right? But it's super fucking hard. And like you said, you started off great, but then everyone, I just touched Cam's hand and it was an experience. Like you said, you started off in a way.
Yeah.
And then it's hard to maintain.
Yeah. It's super hard to, I think a lot of people don't think about the differences between masculine and feminine speech and how much difference there really is, because I'll listen to like Brad do something, whatever, talk on the phone, order at McDonald's, whatever. And it's always like, it's pretty flat. There's no like, could I try the fries? Like there's no like, whatever, could I try the fries as if I've never fucking, you know what I mean? Examples. But it's just like, it's much more like whatever.
In order to talk about this, we have to acknowledge the polar opposite stereotypes.
Yeah, unfortunately. But
that is what you have to do.
Yeah. There's also the like, I remember when I was first, again, passing, sorry, but when I was first like trying to be gendered correctly in public, I one of the things that you said to me that was not joking was like, it's because you're so polite.
Yeah.
That I get gendered as like, and because men are like,
yes,
more abrupt, blah, whatever.
The thing I don't like about the word passing is it's a win-fail word.
Yeah.
Because the minute you don't pass, you failed.
But that goes into the voice stuff, because how else, yesterday on the phone, I was like, oh, I failed. Because
and it's not failing. Like you told me that, and I recontextualized it as you won the beginning.
Yeah.
Like what happened in the end game in the third quarter and the fourth quarter. You know how we can hit the books.
Next time I can come with a Hail Mary and just be like,
oh, thank you so much. But it's like, honestly, like, it's good because you understand those things. That's the thing I don't like about the word passing. And like, I don't want to have this podcast yet because it's so nuanced.
You're the one who keeps going there.
Well, but you said the word passing,
Yeah,
so I was like, I want to clarify it as like, there's not a single trans person in the world that is going to pass 100% of the time.
Yeah.
It's not real. That doesn't exist. There are cis people that are not going to pass 100% of the time. Like, that is not real.
That's a good statement, actually.
So like, there are times in which this now we're getting in the episode.
Yeah.
But that's the thing I don't like about it, is that it's a pass fail word. But what you were saying is like, when you're out in the world trying to be gendered male, you were doing these things.
Yeah.
And it's clear that like you have to be a little bit more reserved.
Yeah. It's like subdued.
Yes.
I can't go off on like now I'd say it's like gay boy speak when I get all like, whatever, like I would normally speak before,
Yes.
whatever. I have to meter that.
I think that we can foreshadow the end of this episode and say that you can speak like you
Yeah.
and have all those things and be bubbly and fun. There are many people that are gendered male that are fun and bubbly.
Yeah.
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
But it's hard in the beginning
Yes.
when you're relearning patterns.
Yeah.
You do have to go to the extreme, the stereotypical extreme, and then pull back in things
From
like
before
that.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a part of voice training? Like when you actually engage in voice training for trans people?
Yeah. I mean, like, I saw someone, her name is Erin Gateles. She's fucking amazing. I would highly, I'll put her in the notes. I swear to God, I will. She's great. She's the best. And it was like practical real life things. Like when you're out at the bar and you have to speak really loud, how are you going to do that?
Oh.
It was things like that, because I think the biggest misconception is that pitch is the smallest marker of gender
Yeah.
in a voice. There are women that we put on pedestals that have low voices.
I was talking about Kathleen Turner earlier. So sexy.
And I'm sure if I knew who that was, I would agree with you.
She's the voice of Jessica Rabbit and the
Sure.
Roger Rabbit movie.
That makes sense.
Well, yeah, yeah. Like sultry, smoky.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We love those things. And then there are also men with higher voices.
Yeah.
Justin Timberlake, massively high voice. Hugely high.
Don Knotts.
You keep bringing up this man.
Yeah.
I don't even know who this is.
You would.
Um,
He's got beady eyes.
he's got a little
It's on the
beady
Andy
eyes.
Griffith show.
I don't even know that show. Anyway,
What? Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
you brought up resonance, which is really
Yeah.
good. Hugely important. Resonance, massive. My voice is pretty low. And I will say this was another thing that we talked about on this podcast. I feel like I'm just talking to my friend.
Yeah.
So I get
A lot of people don't
super
know we're not
comfortable.
actually friends in real life.
Yeah,
I feel like
as if.
I'm just talking to my friend.
But I forget people watch it.
Yeah.
So I get super comfortable.
Yeah.
And I listen back and I'm like, whoa, voice is really low, all these kinds of things.
Yeah.
But it's like, voice was the first thing I learned when like I wanted to start being gendered properly.
Yeah.
And I was early and I was really insecure with myself. I didn't know what to do. I fucking did voice first.
That
and
makes
that's
sense.
what it unlocked a world to me, because I could signal to people like, oh, this is how I'm going to try to tip the scale.
Yeah.
You know, it's massive.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess my whole rant about that is like, the pitch is pretty irrelevant, you know?
Like whether you're high or low speaking and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
it's about inflection, resonance, the way you phrase things. It's about how giddy you are. It's about how
That's what I always used to make the joke that
Laugh.
I misgender myself every time I see a dog.
that's a funny ass joke.
Thank you so much. Because I'm
It's
like,
true.
oh my God, look at the baby.
Yeah, it's like, you know, and we're not saying any of these things are right or wrong. It's just like, sometimes when you're talking to somebody on the phone at the bank, you want to be,
Yeah. Gendered correctly?
yeah.
Yeah.
But-
That's where I'll like consistently go in and out of being like, maybe I will do voice training. And then I'm like, no, I'm good. Because I'll go through like a spell of getting gendered correctly in public when I'm engaging with people. But then something like that happens and I'm like, shit, maybe I should go do the thing.
I think you should do it just because it makes you, it's an accountability thing.
What do
First
you
off,
mean?
you're paying someone weekly
Oh, okay.
or bi-weekly
Yeah.
to make sure you're doing the thing, and
Yeah.
they're gonna ask you how it went, and you're gonna be able to tell these things, and they're gonna be able to tell you stuff like it's therapy.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're gonna be able to tell you and help you with stuff. Also, they're gonna give you little bitty things that you can bite off and accomplish and do. It just makes it more of a focus in your life.
Yeah.
And it's never something you're not going to want to have available to you.
What?
know?
My voice.
Yeah, like being able to tip the scale.
Yeah. So you're saying it's like a skill you can turn on and off?
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say like at this point, I've never thought about it.
Yeah.
Ever. I guess I'm like hyper aware right now. 'Cause, like, we're talking
you're
about
like,
voice. But no, it's like
I'm
not something
definitely
I've
making
ever.
my voice purposely deeper this whole episode. I'm like,
Yeah, but no, it's not anything I've ever like purposely thought about, I guess. But yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll be in the world and I'll be like, yeah, like a customer service voice.
Yeah.
My voice will like go up and things, and I'm like, want there to be no question
yeah.
about this scenario and what's going on. So I will like make sure to really amp up the feminine aspects of my voice.
That's my problem is my customer service voice and stuff still default to being like if you're saying you gave the example of like you're in somewhere loud, how are you going to order? And I know it, like I hear in my head immediately that it's going to go up because that's just what like I've always done.
That stuff was the hardest. Laughing, really difficult to figure out like a new laugh that's authentic to me.
That's another thing that
really hard.
You've talked about before. I made fun of you recently for like not being able to do like a Louisiana accent when you're from fucking Louisiana, and you said that you like not lost it, but you like
I didn't like figure it out. Like I didn't learn.
It didn't come with or whatever.
Yeah, it didn't. It like
and that's like part of it bums me out, the voice training thing, because I don't want.
You're not though.
You know what I mean? I like my stupid dorky laugh, and I don't want to not have that.
Yeah, but you will. You will. I promise.
Yeah.
I guarantee it. Like, do you think my laugh is unique?
Yeah.
Okay, then you're gonna have a unique laugh.
Okay.
Like that's what I'm saying.
I was
It's
like, is
like
this a trick question?
No, it's
you
not
laugh like
like
an insane person.
Yeah, thank you. So, but what I'm saying is like you're gonna figure out an authentic way to express laughter that's gonna feel good to you.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be able to do it. And like you're not gonna. And if you want to say what do you like maroon or whatever
Maroon?
What are some of the weird things y'all say? NTO.
Oh, okay, sure. Maroon? That's like I don't even. It's like you're trying to say
Like people
something
say maroon
from The Sopranos,
and you say
maroon,
yeah.
caramel,
You always say
crayon.
I got mercury in my body.
Yeah,
Things like that.
my dang old skin turned blue from the silver.
You'll be able to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah. But you'll be able to figure out how to keep the pieces of you that you want. I promise. I think you should do it because you'll be able to just have it in your arsenal.
Yeah.
You want it. You're not going to give a fuck about the bank person knowing you're from Central PA.
well, that's not true. I need everyone to know I'm from Central PA.
All right, well, you can pick.
It's like also not as if Central PA is a discernible accent, for the record. I don't know where anyone would guess I was from even.
Let me give you two options.
Yeah.
The bank teller misgenders you,
Yeah.
or the bank teller doesn't know that you are aware of sheets. Which one would you rather?
717 till the day I die.
No. Okay. Well, people, we need a different kind of therapy. It's not voice related. I do want to say before we move on that how hard it is. I want to like reiterate how fucking hard it is to go to your friend group, to go to your family and say, "Hey, I'm going to do a different voice and it's going to be bad. And I'm going to fuck up." It looks like Cam right now, audio only listeners, has the base of the microphone super skinny and the top of the microphone's huge. So it looks like it's like fairy aesthetic, like kind of wizard aesthetic, where it's like, how's it standing up? You know,
I'll take it.
Funny to me.
It's magic.
Regardless, it is so fucking difficult to do that. It's humiliating. It's so hard. So if you're feeling that, keep going.
What, feeling like it's embarrassing? Because I honestly do feel like that sometimes when I try to like,
You just gotta push through it.
like in front of other people.
You gotta just push through it.
I think I do.
And
Most
other
of it.
people are gonna be happy that you're doing it.
Yeah.
They're thrilled. Every time you do it, I'm thrilled that you're doing it.
I like when I wake up in the morning and my voice is like
Yeah.
hoarse and stuff because it's like naturally deeper. So I'm like, hey now.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think that the other thing to say is like, I think one of the worst things that you can do for trans femme people specifically is simply just try to raise your voice to be like Mickey Mouse voice.
Oh, okay.
Because then you don't sound
Like authentic person.
yes,
Yeah.
it sounds like Mickey Mouse, which isn't
I always think it sounds like hentai voice or like porn voice.
Yeah, it's not so. And I think like,
But also I understand why that's like why that is the go-to, because it's like it's the simplest way.
it makes the most sense.
Yeah, to try to get there.
And also, I think it's important to say that. Oh, go on.
No, that's what I was just gonna ask. Yeah.
Your voice, literally in the beginning, will get tired, and you will not be able to maintain a pitch that you want to do.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna have to raise your pitch a little bit, no matter what, probably. But like, there are muscles that have to figure out what to do, and they're gonna strengthen that never have had to be strengthened. So like, throughout the day, you're literally gonna be so tired, not gonna be able to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Because estrogen doesn't change anything with your voice.
It doesn't change your vocal cords at all.
0%.
I guess that's why when you go on T, and that's one of the irreversible changes.
Yeah, exactly. It like literally lengthens.
Yeah, it like thickens your vocal cords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that isn't a big deal, because let's say you wanted to detransition and bring your voice up. Let's just say in some world, you could go to vocal training and then bring your voice up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not knocking about getting vocal surgeries, but it's literally just taking the vocal folds and like putting like a capo on it to make them shorter.
Okay.
So it's like, but you can train that.
Yeah.
You don't really need to do it, but if you want to, I mean, like, I'm not obviously not gonna knock that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it would be an easier way technically,
but it's not, because you still have to learn inflections.
Oh, okay.
And pitch again is 10% of it.
It's not a huge part of it. You've been saying
Inflections are 80% of it.
Yeah. That's where I have to like deactivate things. While you're saying like you have to, like, trans femmes may get like your voice is tired because you're constantly having to like flex, essentially, whatever, to like do stuff. I have to like relax stuff and try not to do the upward lilts, whatever, when I'm talking, and try not to like talk all fast like I do, blah blah blah, whatever, depending on where I am.
Yeah, you gotta like eat words more.
Yeah,
that's like a huge stereotypical tenet of masculinity, is like eating words.
Which is just not talking. What do you mean?
No, like at the end of sentences, trailing off, and
kind
of like, you know, stuff like that.
It's true.
I know.
Yeah, but that's hard. It's like a hard one, like to, especially when you're like excited or conversational. It's so hard to like change those things.
Those things get easier and easier as time goes on. Another big one that I was like curious was like intimate sounds, if you will. I had no idea. And I even specifically asked Erin. I was like, how does this work?
Yeah.
I was like, how do the sounds change?
Yeah. And did she like describe to you?
She did.
And so like, this sounds like I'm being joking or pervy. I'm not, genuinely. She had you like practice in your own time making like sounds.
I'm not going to go into a long bit here that has, you know.
I'm not trying to have a
I know
bit.
you're not. But no, she essentially just said, which is true for everything, honestly. Instead of like an like a UH, like
yeah,
it's like sounds. So even like in normal words, it's having inflections that come up and are more like up rounded than like and like deep into your sternum and solar plexus.
Yeah.
That was the biggest one.
That makes sense.
It's like instead of
That's where like one of the other main sources of my voice dysphoria was while shooting content.
Oh yeah.
Because I could feel like super good and like, look, I'm, you know,
but then
being a boy, but then the sounds come out and it's like, oh boy, that is not
very hard.
But I will say that my testosterone has caused my voice to change enough that now, like, I don't know, 70, 80% of the time during those things, I do sound, it's like voice cracky kind of.
Yeah.
But I'll take that over just like girl tones, whatever.
Absolutely.
So that's good. And also I like unconsciously am practicing that whatever thing instead of going up and going under or whatever. and trying to do that, but also it's hard
Yeah.
because I'm not the type of performer that like, not really performing. I'm kind of just
Yeah, you're just doing stuff.
doing stuff on camera.
Yeah.
So it's hard to like wrap your head around all that.
Yeah. It's difficult because in the beginning you do feel like you're playing a character.
Yeah.
Fully. You feel like you're playing a character, and a lot of people in being a voice training sound very Valley Girl.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's kind of, that goes away though. That goes away in time. You just got to get through that
Valley
space.
Girl phase.
Yes.
Yeah.
You just got to get through that space of sounding like that.
So would you say that you do the vocal training and you end up in that kind of stereotypical place, but then time goes on and you keep practicing the things you learned and your own personal shit mixes with that, and that's where you find
Yeah.
Yeah.
You figure out ways to do stuff. Just like it's so weird because you figure out new patterns, even what I just said,
Yeah.
like little stuffs that you can put into your unique
arsenal.
arsenal of verbiage,
This also sounds
just
like
like you do right now.
it's this is a dumb question probably, but was it like it just happened over time and then one day you noticed, or is it something where like you did something and then you're like, oh wait, like I need to remember that, whatever.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I think it was like a no way. Oh, that worked.
Yeah.
It was a lot of like, oh, that worked. It was a lot of this didn't work.
Yeah.
It was a lot of I want something to express this thing. How do I do that?
Yeah.
It was a lot of stuff like that. And I was able to ask Aaron very specific stuff. I can't remember the very specific things, but laughter was one.
Yeah.
It's like, how do I express that? Also, dumb voices.
Like when you're making voices.
Yeah, like making a
mocking,
stupid
whatever.
voice.
Yeah.
How to do that? That came way, way, way later. You're pretty limited in the amount of expression you can do in the beginning.
Yeah.
Very limited. But I think the other difference is, and I think it's the difference between like seeing you transition and stuff has really pointed this out to me, is that it's easier to be gradual because things just change. Like your voice is lowering because your vocal folds are thickening and getting, and I don't know if they get longer, but they definitely thicken,
Yeah.
which I guess is long this way.
Yeah.
Anyway, so changes happen.
Yeah.
Hair growth happens. Stuff happens.
Yeah.
Whereas transcends, it's not. You have to make a clear choice. And the difference between having like a very, very low booming voice
Yeah.
and being specific about raising your pitch and doing different inflections is like very polarizingly different than I think what trans guys go through.
I would agree. Also, this sounds like a super ignorant question. When trans femme people get like orchiectomy and stuff, that doesn't change your voice at all?
0%.
That's like very like
Zero.
So it's so weird that the addition of testosterone can cause these things for me, but the subtraction of it is not. It like doesn't.
It doesn't make your vocal folds.
Yeah, because there's
smaller.
no. Yeah.
That's what vocal.
Yeah.
I think it's like vocal. I don't know, whatever surgery, but they literally go in and they just like make your vocal folds smaller.
Yeah.
They just like sew them up, make them shorter. You reverse that. That's one of the things about taking blockers early on. That's really good.
Yeah.
Is that your.
Oh, it stops it from thickening.
Yes.
Okay.
So like, you don't have to go through that,
Huh.
which is great.
Yeah.
But after a while, it becomes a non-issue.
Yeah.
It's just like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think there's also a lot of things too where it's like, if you have a beard, you're probably not, as a trans guy, you have a beard, probably not getting misgendered.
Yeah.
You know, your voice doesn't really
Can
matter.
be a bit fruity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
But
You
when
know?
you're like in my, because in my heart of hearts, I want to be like, yeah, how, like, obviously, like, this is a he, whatever, or
Yeah.
at least a they, bottom line. But without those other, like, classic masculine markers of that kind of shit, like being really hairy. Like, I haven't shaved my legs since I got top surgery.
Yeah.
And they're still, like, hippie girl hairy. Not like,
I think that voice honestly would unlock a lot for you.
Yeah.
A lot. Because this happens often where we're in public and the beginning of the interaction's what you want.
Yeah.
And then as we talk, it turns into the bank teller experience.
Yeah.
I really think it's voice. I really think it's voice.
This is the
Truly.
This episode is actually just Wren convincing me to get voice training.
I think that you might just enjoy just kind of seeing what's out there.
Also, it's not that actually that you're not like I'm not like, ugh, stop trying to tell me to get voice training.
No.
I don't think you're wrong. It's just
No.
such a hard thing to like.
Oh, it sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have to do it with your fucking, like, your landlord. You're going to be like, I mean, you're not going to say anything, but it just sucks because they're going to hear a different thing. It's like, it's just hard.
Not if you move across the country suddenly.
Yeah, but that person's heard your voice.
Only once.
Well, maybe they forget. Well, we should start lessons now because then by the time...
by the time I
I'll
meet
hold their
her, I'll be
voice.
like, hello.
But those little things you're going to figure out, like the hello,
Yeah.
like those little quirks you have that are so uniquely you, you'll figure out how to do that stuff in a
Just
way
different.
that's new. And you can use promo code Wren.
Yeah. With
I
your
get
friend.
a huge
Yeah.
kickback for that.
I forget what you said that person's, they have like a name for their thing, whatever.
It's a Pride voice.
But it's probably with a Y or something, isn't it? Yeah.
YDE.
Yeah. Anyway.
I would suggest it for anybody that's curious.
I feel like it's
For me, early on, key.
It's
biggest
just
fucking thing you can do.
I feel like it's a hard thing to seek out and finally commit to because it's like it's so daunting and the perceived possibility for failure at doing it sucks. It feels like it could be like, whereas like surgeries and stuff are more like definite, they're clear. It's like, it feels like a weird, uncertain thing that you're like
Totally
engaging with. I'm just describing why I think it's a great idea to do it. I'm describing why like I've had hesitance, whatever. And I think some part of your brain always wants to be like, no, I can do it myself. Like I can, whatever. I can do all this, or I can watch
so
YouTube
funny,
videos.
Because for
whatever.
me, I'd be like, no, I need to hire a person.
Yeah.
Like, I would never be like, yeah, I can do it myself. Like it was never even an instance where I was like, yeah, I can do it. I'd be like, there ain't no way.
It's also the stupid thing where it's like embarrassing but like you're, another example, you're going to the doctor and you're embarrassed for the doctor to like see your butt or something. But like that doctor sees 50 butts a day and they're all across the board, like different looking. So like you're embarrassed to go see the vocal trainer.
I think I should also say, vocal coaches see.
That's what
this.
I mean. It's a silly thing to be embarrassed about.
I think the other thing I want to say is that it does take practice, literal practice.
Yeah.
Like I practiced an hour a day. I sat there, I did it. You got to do the exercises. There's literal exercises.
That's hard.
What time are we going to the event? There's exercises. You record yourself. You send it to somebody. They listen. They critique it. Like, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
But
and
also,
if you don't practice, then it's not going to be worth it.
Yeah. It's hard because I'm not someone who stays like very consistent stuff besides like work and working out maybe.
I think, again, it kind of goes back to the thing where it's like I think as like trans mass people have a gentler slope.
Yeah.
Whereas like trans femme people don't.
But also it's getting to like, you get to a certain point of tipping point where it's like, well, we've come this far and now it's time to like take things into our own hands a little bit more, whatever.
Yeah.
So you just have to like choose to commit to this for yourself for like the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it was, especially in the beginning when like, the first year you can't get any surgeries and you really shouldn't in the first year.
Yeah.
You're on HRT. It's moving really slow. You're waiting for your hair to grow. You're trying to figure out, you're doing hair removal places. You don't want hair. You've got a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of progress that's happening. So adding voice in there is huge because then you can at least start to get gendered right on the phone.
Yeah.
You can at least start pushing the scale the other ways. And it's not that expensive in the grand scheme of things that you're going to pay for.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think it's the cheapest, easiest
thing to commit to reaffirm yourself.
to get to get the most progress, if we can define it as that,
Yeah.
forward.
It sucks to define things that way, but it's also the truth of, like,
Well, if you have a goal of like transitioning, I think that calling it progress is appropriate.
and it would factually improve my life to not get misgendered.
Yeah.
Like, that's just, we all know.
Yeah.
It's not a good time when it happens.
Yeah. But I think it is, like you said, it's hard because you'll go out and it's you get a lot of affirmations.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a lot of trans femme people don't until it's like night and day. It's like one day you just start.
Well, because I feel like for a lot of trans masc, it's like pubescent boy.
Yeah.
So like you can go out and sure, you may not look like a man, but like you're enough to make people be like, what's that boy doing there?
Yeah.
But there's like with trans femme, there's no pubescent girl.
Yes.
Like it just is
Yes.
like woman. Like that's where like if you're assuming that you are transitioning later in life, like far after your puberty, whatever. So it's like a much harder.
Yeah. Well, I actually think that is probably the same for teenagers too.
Yeah.
Like teen trans girls. I think it's probably the same. I would imagine at least.
Yeah.
Because it's not like being a blogger is awesome.
Yeah.
But it's not like a
I feel like at least if you never have facial hair come in, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's a huge like
That's
difference. Yeah. Or like I did the opposite where I got laser hair removal and now I'm like, damn it.
you got it on your face.
No, I got it on my
Yeah.
armpits.
Yeah.
I got it on my armpits and like my crotch, but my armpits are the area that I most regret
Yeah.
because I let my armpit hair grow down, but it's very pathetic
Yeah.
and we leave it because it's all we have.
It's all we got.
But it could be so much better if I hadn't been like 20 and taking the
Zap,
Groupon.
zap. The
Yeah.
Groupon.
Yeah,
They really get you in with that.
they do.
Well, speaking of that, do you have any last things you'd like to talk about? Maybe you have a Groupon that you want to share with people. Maybe you have
I don't have a Groupon.
you don't.
No, I do have, you may remember from last episode, dipsystories.com/corn. That's a Groupon of sorts.
Wow.
Yeah.
People should use it.
Yeah, they can get a 30-day free trial.
Wow.
So dipsystories.com
Wow.
with the promo code corn at the end of dipsystories.com/corn.
Wow. Well, we'll make sure to check that out. And then also, why you punch me like that?
You nux. And that's the trans femme. This is another, you don't know the like, down, baby, down.
Yeah, I didn't learn that. Yeah, you can't do that
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, I can. I'm cool.
All right. Well, give it a minute.
I was at the wrestling camp next to the field hockey camp.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, you can be shucked.
Or you can be creamed.
And in this world, in my heart, as long as you are,
Doesn't matter what kind of corn you are.
as long as
You are
kind.
corn.